Oh my dear God, that Bluey is really huge. He is massive. I didn't realize how huge he was when I got him this morning until I watched back that video I just recorded about Descendants and Zombies for you guys. I feel so honored to have him a part of this huge stuffy collection that I proudly put on display here for these videos. If you love the Bluey, hit the like button, show your love and support for this YouTube channel, which I hope you will continue to for many years to come, because honestly guys, I've loved being a part of these conversations. They are conversations that obviously have held a very special place in my heart, conversations I look forward to sharing them with all of you, because let's be honest, we love Zed and Addison's love story, and we love Freya, Skye, and Malachi Burton as the characters of Victor and Nova just as much. We are setting ourselves up to be a part of a beautiful future with them involved in it, and I think that we're so excited to be a part of it with them too, because Zombies 5 is going to be a beautiful franchise, regardless of how many critics we have out there of Zombies 5. And we're going to see and hear from a lot of them, because they're going to have their opinions, that they have a desire to want to be heard and seen on YouTube. But I'm going to do everything in my power to outshine that with a lot of really great reviews for Zombies 5 up and coming. So if you have not subscribed here to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to do that, more especially if you want to hear something nice about your favorite stars, such as Freya, such as Malachi, such as Milo and Meg. There was always something about seeing them together that I could never get enough of, and I always found time in appreciating everything they had to endure, everything they had to put themselves through. And when it came to criticism of people such as Kylie Cantrell, who love Bluey and who love Hello Kitty with all of her heart, then she should be allowed to love Hello Kitty and Bluey with all of her heart. Because I remember this young girl at 7 years old wanting more than anything else in her life to be on a YouTube channel that her parents allowed her to film from her bedroom. And I remember her being so full of life and so full of energy, and just wanting to let everybody know how shows like Sam and Cat and Bluey made her feel. And I found time in appreciating that, because I was starting my career at the same time. I was probably into my 5th or 6th year of my career. I was approaching probably the halfway point of the first decade that I had been involved on the radio and on YouTube. My YouTube channel had just premiered. And I was like, what's happening here? Kylie Cantrell has 500,000 subscribers, and I only got like 100. And then 100 eventually became 500 for me, 500 became 1,000. But as time went on, I found time in appreciating how Kylie Cantrell could create relatable content. Obviously at 7 years old, she had a lot of help with her dad being a professional producer, her mom being a professional dancer. Growing up in a dance home obviously has its advantages. I grew up in a dance home myself because my sister was involved with ballet and dance recitals and stuff. And I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I went to every single one of those dance recitals, and I loved every single moment of it, because in dance recitals, you had stories incorporated into the dance recitals that helped bring the dance recitals to life. Now, many of you probably never noticed that, because probably some of you aren't interested in, learning the choreographing and things like that. But there are stories incorporated within these dance recitals. And I remember seeing the stories brought to life, stories of Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella, and feeling so appreciative of them. So when I hear stories about how Ruby competed in dance competitions and won over 5 dance championships, I felt very appreciative of that. Because I love people who have heart enough to go out and become champion in whatever passions they continue to follow. Let me put it to you this way. If you guys ever have a chance of being a part of something special and becoming champion in whatever you're passionate about, then you should continue to follow your passions, because your passions are what lead you to achieving your dreams. And there is no greater feeling in the world than having your dreams become a reality for you. I have felt more than honored to share my story with you and to hear your stories about how your passions have really come to life and become more of a reality for you, which is what Descendants of Zombies has helped us realize, is just our dreams and our passions becoming more of a reality for us. Because let me tell you guys something. The greatest feeling in the world is realizing that you have accomplished your goal and achieved your dreams. I think that everybody lives with the sole purpose of achieving their dreams and becoming something far greater. And while many of us may feel like we're a long way away from this ever happening for us, you're probably saying to yourself, hey Jonathan Clarke, my dream of having a life-size Bluey just like you is never going to come true. Well, if you are somebody who feels that way, The thing is, it will eventually happen for you because if you want something bad enough, your passions are going to drive you in directions that you never ever thought possible, lead you down promising paths that are going to be filled with so many unforgettable moments that you're going to have the chance to share with your family and your friends, and that's what makes it so special. I know you guys just sort of go off in the background because I'm preparing myself for a zombie apocalypse this morning, but the thing is, what did you expect me to do? Just sit here and talk about Descendants of Zombies without taking it up on the opportunity to bring these channels to life? I've loved living here. I've lived here on this island for a very long time, and there are so many ghost stories often associated and affiliated with this island. Stories about ghost ships, people who go missing all the time in the fog while they're in the woods berry picking, and I've heard these stories for hundreds of years. I've never been alive for 100 years. I don't even know if I want to live for 100 years. But if I did live for 100 years, just to let you guys know, if I could live for 100 years and do something for those 100 years, it would be talking about Descendants of Zombies all over again, just to have the chance to go back in time. Let's say if I were in possession of a pocket watch, just to have the chance to go back in time and experience generations that I had the chance to grow up in, like the 1990s and 1980s, which I know are decades that Kylie Cantrell and Leomani Segura are particularly fond of. And I've really had the time of my life talking about moments like Mike Tyson's professional boxing debut, how Hulkamania began and Hulk Hogan became WWE champion for the first time ever, the rise in popularity of the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and it was just so fun being a part of the 1990s and 1980s. I know it's really hard to describe, and really just for me to say it doesn't really tell you a whole lot, but I venture to say that there are a lot of people who watch these videos who love hearing me talk about the 1990s and early 1980s. Now, I know I was still really young. I was 5 years old. I was crying all the time because I didn't want to watch scary shows on TV, and everything I thought on TV was real, and my favorite color was yellow. I didn't really know a whole lot back in the 1980s. It wasn't until the 1990s that I really had the chance to grow up as a fan of the Backstreet Boys and Boy Meets World and Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark and the Power Rangers, which I thought were the coolest superhero fighting force of all time. I remember when the Power Rangers first premiered in the summer of 1993, and I felt so honored to call myself a Power Rangers fan because I thought they were the coolest superhero fighting force of all time, with their sole purpose of saving the universe from Rita Repulsa and Goldar, who eventually became Lord Zed, Ivan Ooze. Point being, I know what it's like to be a fan of all of this, and I know how much you guys appreciate it. So when it comes to putting Descendants of Zombies posters on display for you guys and redecorating this room, which is up and coming, I see nothing wrong with that. Because the reality of life is you only have one go-around. So what you're going to do with that one go-around is you're going to make the most of every opportunity that you have. You never know how you're going to make the most of every opportunity that you have, but you know it's going to lead you to become stronger and feel stronger about people like Ruby, people like Kylie. And, you know, I always had issues with seeing them cry. That was the thing. I never wanted to hear them cry. I never wanted to see them feeling downhearted. I never wanted people making them feel the way that they were. Because I know there are a lot of people out there who have often taken exception to Descendants of Zombies and what it's meant to so many incredible hearts. How much of a life-changing experience events like the Worlds Collide Tour obviously were to everybody. I've loved every moment that I've had the chance to share with you guys while sharing with you my story. A story that I never imagined would have went on to be so well received by really thousands of people who would subscribe here because they chose this YouTube channel ultimately as their favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel that has ever been created. And believe you me, guys, I've had the time of my life bringing these videos to life for so many incredible people. I know that I believe the chances of a zombie apocalypse and alien invasion have never been more apparent, but again, that's what Descendants of Zombies revolved around, was this theme of zombie apocalypses and alien invasions, which eventually would become, and acceptance. That was the theme of Zombies, was finding your place in the world through achieving acceptance, which I know for a lot of people sometimes they struggle with, and it is very difficult to find acceptance and achieve that in a world that sometimes is very unforgiving and very judging. And we see people judge your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars all the time, and there really is no need of that. The reason why they don't watch TikTok videos of themselves anymore or videos of themselves on YouTube and Instagram is because of how people feel about them. And they don't want to have to put up with that. They don't want to have to endure what they don't have to endure. I remember when Meg Donnelly was feeling really downhearted about her performance criteria, which is pretty much the level you're performing at. I also remember when she was so proud to be a part of the Moulin Rouge musical. And I remember that song years ago, Moulin Rouge, performed by, I think it was Pink and Christina Aguilera, you know, Moulin Rouge kind of thing. I grew up in that generation, and when I when I saw the musical come to life, I thought it was so cool because I always remember being a fan of Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, and I had this one friend. His name was Josh. And every Friday night I used to go to Josh's house, and he was always talking about, who was the best girl ever? Was it Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears? And we were, kind of freaking out over the thing. And, there were so many people. I remember Josh being so appreciative of Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears. I don't know if he ever figured out who was the most beautiful one of them. But I remember how people were always arguing online about it. But the one thing Josh always held close to his heart was that he knew, even though he could never narrow it down to who was the most beautiful between Britney and Christina, he knew that he had a special place in his heart for them, and he felt very passionate about what he loved. He also loved science and blowing stuff up, but you haven't got to tell him that I told you that. But the thing is, that's what makes life so appreciative, is that you had the chance to share in these moments with so many incredible people. You remember watching that one episode of Boy Meets World that you never ever forgot. Probably it was the episode where Sean's dad passed away, and they reached this emotional understanding and had this emotional moment that many of us never ever forgot. Or maybe it was when Topanga moved away from Corey and they never wanted to be apart, which ultimately led them to spending the rest of their lives together and going on to have Riley, who was a beautiful girl and represented Corey and Topanga's daughter so phenomenally. I never forgot what Roland Blanchard meant to Girl Meets World. I know a lot of people tend to talk about Sabrina Carpenter, but I put over Roland Blanchard more times than enough for just how beautiful of a representation of Corey and Topanga's daughter she was. I don't think there was a single person out there in the 1990s, early 90s, who was never a fan of Boy Meets World. And the same comparison can kind of be made to Descendants and Zombies, because you guys have obviously taken something special away from these stories and these characters such as Red and Nell and Evie, who are incredibly beautiful. Of course, Sophia Carson refers to Evie as a fashionist, and she certainly is a fashionist because of how strong she is and how strongly her opinions seem to be in the Descendants franchise. It wasn't until Descendants 2 we really got to know who Evie was, but her story became more fabulous and just a huge honor to be a part of. And, I really wish that I could have had the opportunity to grow up and be your guys' age and experience Descendants for what it was worth. I know there are a lot of people who say that these fans will never know what it was like to grow up and be a true Disney fan and experience crossover opportunities between Hannah Montana Wizards and Sweet Life and That's So Raven. But I've often made the comparison of what it would have been like to grow up like you guys and experience Descendants of Zombies for its true worth and its true value. It would have been so fun. I would have had the chance to meet more people. I would have had the chance to become more friends with people, because if there would have been one guy in this world who would have exemplified tremendous heart for Descendants of Zombies, it would have always been me. Because I think there is value in how people feel about Descendants of Zombies characters and what they see in them. They obviously see tremendous power, tremendous strength, and that's what really makes this so special. And people feel stronger all the time and are feeling stronger because of Descendants of Zombies. I have always wanted to be a part of something special with all of you. I've always wanted to experience Descendants of Zombies for its true worth, and I had the chance to proudly put that on display, and I've honestly had no regrets. If there was one thing, like I just said, that I could go back and experience, it would be the rise in popularity of people like Kylie and Freya and Ruby, because there was always just something about seeing them together that I found time and appreciating, that I could never get enough of. And I felt more than honored to be a part of that and to sharing that with so many incredible people. So I really hope you guys love these videos just as much as what I have putting them together for you guys, because I honestly wouldn't have had it any other way. I think that we have an incredible future that we are setting ourselves up to be a part of. We have Zombies 5, Descendants 5, and now Camp Rock 3 coming out in the same summer. So we have this summer, we have Descendants 5 and Camp Rock 3 coming in the same summer. We have the Descendants Zombies, and now Camp Rock Worlds Collide Tour Leg 2 is going to be happening with a lot of overseas dates. I believe they're even heading to Mexico. Arriba! So a lot of people are going to be really excited to see this in Mexico for the first time. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, do that Arriba thing. No, I'm going to shy away from that. But the thing is, I'm really excited to see where we go from here with this. And I think that if we can take the time to actually say something nice about your favorite stars, that is what makes us, go all kumbaya and be happy about Descendants of Zombies. And I think as long as we have the kumbaya feeling and the Hakuna Matata feeling running wild about Descendants of Zombies, there is no better way to really put this into perspective for a lot of people. So always remember and never forget, Hakuna Matata, Kumbaya, all that fun stuff, and everybody will feel the same way about Descendants of Zombies eventually. Over time, maybe not right away, but over time, you will always have a greater appreciation for everything being okay and being just fine, because that's what Hakuna Matata always meant. Ever since 1994, when I heard those words for the first time ever, everything was going to be okay. And I think the future for your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars is going to be nothing short and fall nothing short of miraculous. And I'm just so excited to be a part of that and sharing that with all of you. So if you're somebody who has never subscribed to a Jonathan Clarke YouTube channel or watched a Jonathan Clarke video, then you probably should. Because I promise you guys, I will show tremendous heart from here until the end of time for your favorite stars and the franchises you've loved so much, and I will never let you down. Thank you guys so much for always choosing this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. I, of course, am Jonathan Clarke, and I've never felt more honored to share in these conversations with so many wonderful people. We'll do it all over again just after sunset tonight. With that having been said, once again, thank you so much for showing up here all the time. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for watching these videos, and always and forever having a very special place in your heart for what is and what's become Descendants of Zombies, something far more powerful than we will ever forget. Thank you so much for having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel, and as always, thank you so much for having watched these videos.